You were taught to control your emotions, to not feel too much, to be strong, to never show weakness. From a young age, you learned that feeling deeply was a problem, that showing what's happening inside you could be seen as a flaw. But what if I told you the problem was never feeling? What if the real problem is that you were never taught how to understand what you feel? Because every emotion you try to silence keeps speaking, just in louder, more intense ways. What you avoid doesn't disappear. What you ignore doesn't fade away. It grows stronger in the silence. Most people don't realize this, but emotions are not your enemies. They're a language. Internal signals trying to communicate something your mind hasn't fully translated yet. And the more you ignore them, the louder they become, until one day they can't be ignored anymore. Take anger, for example. It's not a loss of control. It's a warning. A boundary that's been crossed, a need that's been neglected, a part of you that's been disrespected. But because no one ever taught you how to listen to that, you learned only two options: suppress it or explode. And neither one actually solves anything, because both ignore the meaning behind the emotion. Sadness isn't weakness, it's depth. It reflects something that mattered, something that left a mark, something that still lives inside you. Sadness isn't trying to break you. It's asking you to pause, to feel, to acknowledge, to integrate what was lost. But in a world that glorifies speed, slowing down feels wrong. Feeling feels unproductive. So you keep moving, carrying what was never processed. Fear isn't a flaw in your system either. It's protection. It exists to preserve what still matters. But when you don't understand that, you start fighting fear like it's the enemy, when it's actually trying to protect you from something you haven't fully understood yet. And envy, maybe one of the most rejected emotions, yet one of the most honest. Because it reveals without filters what you desire, but haven't had the courage to admit. It points to hidden wants. It shows you what you're missing. But because it's uncomfortable to face that truth, you deny it and miss the chance to understand yourself on a deeper level. Imagine a couple. One person says something seemingly simple, and the other reacts with anger. On the surface, it looks like an overreaction, but underneath, it's not about that moment. It's about years of feeling unheard, small acts of disrespect that piled up. Boundaries that were never expressed, now overflowing. The emotion didn't start there. It just found a way out. Modern psychology understands something crucial. Denying emotions is like turning off a fire alarm and pretending nothing is burning. The noise stops, but the fire keeps spreading, and the longer you ignore it, the worse it gets. And this isn't a new idea. Philosophers like Spinoza and traditions like Stoicism have always said the same thing. The problem isn't your emotions, it's your relationship with them. The wise don't run. They observe, they understand, they learn from what they feel. Every emotion is a code, a signal, a message, and when you learn how to read that code, something begins to shift. Anger stops being just an explosion and becomes direction. Sadness stops being weight and becomes meaning. Fear stops being a prison and becomes protection. Because the truth is, healing was never about silencing what you feel. Healing is about listening. Anger doesn't want to be suppressed. Fear doesn't want to be ignored. Sadness doesn't want to be avoided. They all want to be understood. And the more you try to silence them, the louder they get. Not for control, but for attention. And the moment you finally stop and truly listen, you realize something that changes everything. What felt like chaos was actually internal disorder asking for meaning. And when you understand what each emotion came to teach you, chaos stops being chaos. And slowly, it begins to reorganize itself into wisdom.